perhaps the most ideal PvP we could have gotten in a while. Of course, NightMare, we talked about him a little bit before. Very much known for being that PvP specialist. Decent in the PvT as well, but PvP is definitely what he's known for. Patience, he's just a madman. He's an enigma. He's like the Protoss Micah, if you would.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't make any goddamn sense whatsoever in a bit of a different way compared to me and Micah. But
even yeah, I mean, even with SOS, you can kind of see the thought process. But we are gonna start things off here on Romanticide LE. LE, of course, standing for Lovers Echidnas. Lovers Echidnas. That's kind of like Knuckles, which is what we're counting on today, not using fingers. In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the red Protoss player. He is going to be representing that Y-axis when we think about Protoss players. Representing Good Game Gaming, GGG. He is Patience.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the Kingslayer, the Zest Killer this week. We have the blue Protoss player representing Team NV. It is NightMare.
Oh boy. I'm just keeping my eyes peeled wide open. I'm looking at the minimap every single time. I want to know what they have in store for us.
Right? I don't know what happened in the last series. If you want to find out what happened in NightMare versus Zest, then I do definitely recommend checking out the VODs of Renegade X, as Renegade was the English caster covering that series. He was all over that, and I don't blame him, and he was lucky enough to catch that. So give him some love, check out his VODs, because he's the only one with them, and oh boy, I, as you said, I don't know what to expect between these two. It'd be crazy if like two chaotic beings collide and we get the most standard boring game ever.
Cancels each other out, you know? Like two negatives make a positive, something like that.
Is Patience gonna let this finish? He just threw down a pylon in front of the cast.
He did! And that actually messes up the mining here for NightMare. There's no easy way for him to mine. Has to make it a little bit of a curve. It's not as efficient. It's gonna come in really handy when NightMare wants to make a sentry, but it's just 5 gas short.
Yeah, like this actually matters, especially against Protoss, because gas is so much more valuable to the Protoss race. So yeah, this is gonna be a thing. What a big brain.
What a massive brain he's got.
Oh my god, and we'll see what the follow-up is.
We're him a little bit here and there, but honestly, yeah, this is questionable move, but one that does make sense.
Yeah, and we'll see if this distraction works, because right now the pylon is pulling the attention of the Stalkers. At the same time, Patience is moving across the map with his adepts, looking to try and shade into the main base.
NightMare is there with a probe, ready to make the block, but it's now starting to move away. The shade goes in, but NightMare, he sees it, was able to deal with the pylon quickly enough. Patience, are you gonna let that finish? Ooh, okay.
If he wanted to, he could have committed. He would have killed maybe 2, maybe 3 probes, but in the end decides against it. Now he doesn't get in.
Yeah, NightMare really on top of his defense here. Continuing to pump out more and more Stalkers. There comes a point where building Stalkers is not used defensively anymore, and you do want to move across the map with him. I feel like NightMare is getting to that point.
Yeah, like this is a pretty decent amount of Stalkers already behind this. He is going for his Stargate, which is quite interesting, as opposed to Patience, who's opting to go for the Robo instead.
Okay, I think he has recognized how NightMare wants to play this out a little bit more Stalker heavy, so getting that Immortal out as quick as he can is definitely going to be an equalizer for him.
Oh god, and this is a little bit unfortunate because NightMare, he missed the War Prism. The War Prism is going to sneak out across the map.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch what was in it, whether it was Stalkers or Adepts, but either way, gonna be a lot of probes dead here for NightMare, I imagine. They're just getting a little bit supply capped.
Ooh, but NightMare, he had a shield battery in the middle line. Nothing goes down, and as a result, like Patience, he's delayed his natural for so long, and he hasn't really achieved anything because of it.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, just the one good thing Patience has going for him is he does have some immortals with his army. He didn't lose the Adepts either, so
True.
could try to be aggressive once again, but at this point he's just playing perpetually behind.
Yeah, and he has to be so careful because the Stalkers are coming in. Ooh, once again, the Warp Prism does just barely miss them.
Oh, but he's coming in with the Immortals. Patience does have to be a little bit careful with his Warp Prism micro, but without Blink, these Stalkers just go down to the bottom of the sea.
Ooh, that they do, and now this is Patience like opportunity to move out across the map with his Immortal advantage. The Immortals are kind of, there's a bit of mispathing a little bit. They're on their own. Oh.
And you know what? They just want to avoid these Phoenixes. Move them into the Stalker range, but the Warp Prism does go down. Patience gonna have basically zero sustainability when he pushes in. He needs to cripple NightMare with this push.
Will he though? He has to push up a ramp. There's already a Nexus. There are 2 shield batteries. Because the Nexus is complete, shield battery overcharge is available as well. Yo, and when they fight the Phoenixes, they can just CC the Immortals.
They really can.
Patience, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Sentry's out of position. He is kind of considering it, but just trying to see what he can get done over here. He knows he's behind and needs to do some kind of damage. And you know how the Axiom always goes, like, when behind, Dark Shrine.
Exactly. I love it. He even hallucinates. He hallucinates the Warp Prism.
I'm pretty sure NightMare saw that with his Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, he... Okay, no, this is Patience Observer. Okay, well... Okay.
Oh, this one's real though. This one's real.
It is. And it's reinforcing.
Mate, the ball's on Patience to stay here. Like, I honestly, I feel like the longer he stays, the more dangerous it is for him.
It is, but he is also containing NightMare, to be fair. NightMare not going to go for a third base. If Patience decides to, he can just try to out-macro him by getting a quick little third base and just, you know, focusing on his pro production. But as you said, the longer he stays here, the more reinforcements NightMare is going to get, the more Phoenixes he's going to pump out. Actually going for Void Race this time. Yeah,
interesting. He's, you know, switching things up a little bit, and I like this. Patience, he's backing off, thank God. Like, if he stayed any longer, I felt like NightMare would find an opportune moment to just pounce on the army. Ooh, forces a recall.
And NightMare, unable to pounce on the army, is able to pounce right on top of these Mineral Lines. Gets a beautiful scout on this Dark Shrine.
Ah, beautifully.
Section of his own, already getting some oracles.
Yeah, beautifully done there. He's going to lose a couple of Phoenixes, but already 9 probes go down. At the same time, the Warp Prism did sneak into the main base, and 2 DTs have been dropped in. Oh my God, can he get the pylon?
And this is crucial. This is absolutely crucial. That is going to be the only source of detection here for NightMare. And just like that, Patience, he's turned the tables. That pylon finished up light.
Oh,
NightMare's blocked.
He blocked himself out of the main base. Oh my God.
Don't think he has the energy for a recall.
He doesn't have the energy for a recall. I believe a Forge was attempting to be finished up somewhere, but he has to kill his own pylon. Oh my God.
Is this NightMare? Oh man, Patience just took this from a massive disadvantage to an equalizer.
I would say Patience is a little bit ahead here. The NightMare down 10 workers. GG gets called.
Oh, GG, just like that. This man is a genius. Patience. We question him, but he is a genius in the PvP matchup, even taking out the PvP specialist, NightMare. And speaking of Protoss Light, thank you very much, M. Canning, for that raid. You love to see it.
Wow. GG, Patience takes game number 1, and as you said, thank you so much, M. Canning, the embodiment of North America. Thank you so much for rating us, for giving us your support. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed your stream. I hope you enjoyed your run there. Again, I guess you can tune into the VODs. We did cast your series against Ryung, and you looked pretty good there. You were holding your own. But mate, what a PvP we just saw.
What a PvP. I mean, this is the game that really just proves the saying, isn't it? When behind, Dark Shrine.
That's all you need, mate.
He took that from almost losing that game to just straight up forcing NightMare to tap out.
And, like especially because NightMare, he scouted the DTs. Like he saw the Dark Shrine, but like as he scouted the Dark Shrine, like the DTs were already in the main base of NightMare. It's on the screen right now. Like, oh my god.
He was getting detection, but just not quick enough.
Exactly.
He's trying to chrono boost it out right at the end, and that was, I think that was what took the Nexus energy down enough to not have a recall. Alright, but what a game that we just saw, and now we're going to be following it up on Jagannatha LE. We're spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. The red Protoss player, the mad genius he is, with his Dark Shrines. Sometimes you ask why, but you just gotta trust him. Representing Good Game Gaming, GGG, from the land of Jeju Island, he is Patience.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the purple Protoss, representing Team NV. It is NightMare. The Zest Killer himself.
Catching up to the DTs. He is a Zest Killer. That mine.
Yeah. For those wondering, !B in the chat. You can have a look at that bracket. And Zest, one of the favorites, one of our regulars here to go all the way to the finals, or at least the semis, was knocked out in the previous round by this man right here.
That is definitely Zest's bad dream. If only there was another word for that.
I don't think there is.
Yeah.
Dream is somewhere else in the bracket.
He is currently facing
Solar.
There we go. I remember there was a Zerg player, and I thought, wait, is he facing Armani? I was like, no, it was Armani versus Realm.
Oh, oof.
And the series might be over by now.
It could be. I haven't had a look at the bracket myself yet. We are still engrossed very much so in this series, as there is a pylon in the center of the map, and the probe is here, ready and waiting to throw something down.
Yeah, NightMare being a little bit cheeky here, but Patience, probe zone over in the northeast side of the map.
Ooh, are you feeling a Robo? What are you feeling here for NightMare?
I'm feeling Stargate versus Robo.
Ooh, I'm feeling the Stargate for Patience.
Gateway, actually.
Yeah, interesting. So we have a reinforcement point with this gateway here for NightMare, but things are gonna get a little bit wonky. As they proxy each other.
Yeah, interesting how this dynamic is going to go, especially since with that gateway, you know, you're focusing your production on the middle of the map, whether you get Stalkers or Depths here for NightMare. Not really going to have a lot of anti-air back at home.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Patience, he does send a probe in, but he didn't quite see anything in the main base. He knows that there's no early natural, so he should know that there is something happening at least. Meanwhile, the Stargate is on the way, but the Stalkers, they're across the map. NightMare, he's getting ready to put that pressure on Patience. Oh.
Indeed, he is. And the probe sees it.
Oh my god.
Just barely sees it. Patience has a couple of Stalkers on his own. It's all going to be about who shoots first. NightMare has a very good reinforcement point with that gateway. But I tell you what, I don't think that makes up for Defender's advantage.
It's also important to note that Patience did not actually see that gateway. Like he has no idea. Yeah, he has no idea. The probe was off over too much to the left, so he doesn't realize how aggressive NightMare is about to be.
But I tell you what, he does so their Stalkers coming his way. He feels very safe to send that Oracle into the main base.
Oh god, and we'll see how much damage this can get done. There is no shield battery here. There are no Stalkers.
This is exactly what Patience wants to see.
Or is it because he also sees the rest of the main base? Something should be ticking him off, like, hey, something's definitely missing here. And I'm just concerned because, like, there are no shield batteries here to support this ramp. Like, there's no other defensive structures.
I thought he was getting shield battery by his Nexus, but no, he's actually just getting another pylon.
It's another pylon,
and this is a lot of Stalkers. There is a shield battery in the middle line. Battery overcharge, of course, always available for Patience. He's, be a little bit more patient with that. He does have 4 gateways versus NightMare's 3.
That he
So
does.
he has those
And
reinforcements.
yeah, Patience finally regains control of his main base. He does force NightMare down the ramp, but the Adepts are going to be able to shade in.
Now Patience has got to make a choice.
Ooh.
Okay, doesn't come into that shade.
Yeah. Patience does fall to the chicken though. Like he did pull his boys away from the shade.
Did. But
So,
into the shield battery, which might have been the thing. Yeah, Sarkis go in. This shade should just about complete. There we go. And these Adepts from Patience, not quite enough to take out the Adepts of NightMare. Not yet, anyway. Whereas NightMare doesn't even care. He's starting to one-shot these probes. Shield battery helps, but only against a single Adept.
Exactly, that's a lot of worker kills. 6 do go down for Patience. He's now down in terms of the workers. He still has these 2 oracles, so maybe he can make something happen, but there are so many defensive stalkers he just can't get in. Oh, nice stasis.
Actually, yeah, getting that stasis ward. NightMare, his entire army just about cut in half here. And now Patience, he's got the opportunity while that stasis ward is, while those stalkers are still in stasis rather, to just go in to the main base. Not actually going for that, instead just focusing on these stalkers here.
Yeah, basically getting some free stalker kills, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's still pretty good for Patience. The oracles now trying to help out, focusing on these stalkers, also drawing attention away from NightMare's attack.
Oh, that he does. Meanwhile, the Adepts do shade on top of the sentries, so the sentries all go down. It's just stalkers remaining for NightMare, but I think maybe he has enough to at least, equalize with this.
Just barely. Yeah, just gonna be able to chase this away. Seeing that chrono boost on the gateways as well is a little bit scary for Patience.
Yeah, and now Patience, he reinforces with this gateway outside the base. Ooh, but the nice force field does cut the army in half of Patience.
Indeed it does. This is all going to come down to that Stalker Micro. Neither players blink at the moment. This is a little bit more wonky, if you will.
Yeah, that they do. Meanwhile, there is enough energy here for another force field, so NightMare does have that available to him. More reinforcements do show up from Patience. Patience is trying to press the issue.
And kind of succeeding. He does have that reinforcement point with his Stargate. Did throw down a gateway around there for the quick warp-ins.
Ah, God, but Patience, he's still down in workers, he's down in bases. Like, he has to deal some game-ending damage here because of the position that he's in, and he just hasn't really been able to find it. And now we have a shield battery here on the high ground on the ramp.
Yeah, I think best case scenario here for Patience to just take out that Nexus and back away. But he might not even get that. These Zealots are now here to just try to tank a little bit of damage. Ooh, really good force field on top of that ramp.
Okay, yeah.
So he will be able to take out the Nexus, yeah.
Yeah, he kills the Nexus. He does, wall the rest of the army outside. Meanwhile, there were a couple more Adepts. More probes go down. Patience, he's down to 14 probes.
Yeah, we are at a point, I think, for Patience, though, where he's saying, I don't even want these probes, man. I just want more supply for my army.
To be fair, like, thankfully, because he killed that Nexus, like, he isn't in the worst of positions. It is still possible for him to come back, especially if he is able to expand and start chronoing out those workers. But at the moment, he's still on one base.
Yeah, just focusing on getting his probes being made. And restarting Oracle production, interestingly enough. I'm actually liking this for Patience. I think he knows that, there's no easy way for him to try to out-macro his opponent here. He can't even afford an expansion at the moment, so just trying to take out the probes of NightMare, but it's been scouted.
Yeah, it was shut down. This has been denied, but Patience, he finds an opportunity to catch this army out.
Yeah, he knows this army is so far out of position, not within shield battery range, focusing these sentries, and forces a recall. I think it's starting to look up for Patience, but he's got to do a little bit more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think Patience would be in an okay position, but, like, it's so difficult to break the defensive Protoss, especially when they have now shield batteries on the low ground. The Nexus is about to finish up, which means overcharge is available as well. Like, Patience would need an almost overwhelming amount, or maybe, like, more sentries for force fields to really go toe-to-toe with NightMare's army.
He really will, especially now that his Nexus is finished up with a shield battery in range for the overcharge. It's going to be pretty tough. Patience has remade the Nexus, but he's trying to find ways to, not be playing this at an economic disadvantage.
Oh.
Ooh, commits one to the shade and brings back most of the army, but NightMare, he recognizes that it is a bluff. One probe will go down, but nothing else, and Patience still hasn't found that opening that he needs.
Yeah, and I'm really concerned because Patience, he commits to the shade, the Adepts are going to go down. He does scout the Robo, he does scout the Immortal, and with the Immortal, like, this is a pretty big tech advantage that NightMare is going to have. To be fair, Patience is, like, he did repower his Stargate, and he is going for Phoenixes, so Phoenixes are another way to help deal with the Immortals, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, it's a real good neutralizer here.
And
But always have to be careful about the Stalkers.
Definitely. And after all said and done, Patience, he has been able to get his expansion up and running, and for the most part, we're kind of equal in terms of the worker count.
I did not think that was gonna happen.
I didn't think I was saying, like, yo, Patience could do this, but, like, I didn't think he would do it. I'm surprised he actually went for the expansion, and instead he didn't, like, throw down 2 more gateways and just double down. Because that's, like, the Patience thing to do.
We know and love.
It is. So, wow, okay. I'm impressed.
Yeah. That's not to say that he's giving up on his aggression, though. He's still continuing to reinforce from his gateway point, remaking that pylon. NightMare's going to scout that with his hallucinated Phoenix, but is it going to be too late? Patience wants to move in.
Oh, that he does, but the second shoe battery does finish up here. Oh, does cut off the army, though.
Yeah, very nicely done here for NightMare. Takes out a single sentry, but not much else here for Patience.
Yeah, and so far Patience, he's struggling to really, like, penetrate the defenses here of NightMare. One of the shoe battery energy has run out, but oh god, he's actually committing to this.
Surprisingly enough, I do not think this is the right move to go for. Battery overcharge did get popped. The Immortal picked up a little bit too late. GG's call. NightMare with the defense able to take this game to the ace match, or series to the ace match rather.
GG, and that he does. We are now tied up 1-1 in this best of 3, and as you said, we are going to be heading into that ace match. Patience, he did a really good job at bringing himself back into the game economically, but that fight, the beginning was okay, but, like, that did not go well for Patience.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that he committed himself to that attack.
Yeah, I think that's
because he did. He kept NightMare scared for quite a while. He could have just continued to contain him and, you know, go for a third base and try to out macro his opponent from there. But again, this is Patience we're talking about. If you went for a macro game, then it wouldn't be Patience.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's important to point out is what you said, that final fight there from Patience, he instigated that fight. Like, he's the one that forced that fight to happen. He was the one that looked at the shield batteries, the Nexus, the army, and he's like, yo, I got this.
I can take that.
I got this, mate. He goes in, and you pointed out as it was happening, he didn't, like, pick anything up with his Phoenixes until the very end. It's like, mate, what's going on?
Maybe tunnel visioning a bit on his sentries? Maybe?
Yeah.
It's pretty common for Protoss. You know, you do need to split your attention between your Sky Army and your Ground Army.
It's very true. Oh god, but here we go. The players, they need to shake it off. We have WCS Game Heart. The lobby has been made. And mate, this is what I love about ESL Asia. We see this in almost every series. Submarine.
Yeah. Do feel quite deprived of this in some of the Latin American and the Oceanian tournaments that we cast. But here, in North Asia, we got it.
That we do.
As we move on here and into the map that Light was talking about, that being Submarine LE. We all, in fact, live in the LE Submarine. The LE Submarine. The LE Submarine. And here in the bottom right-hand corner, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the red Protoss player coming down from the land of Jeju Island. He is Chaos Incarnate, representing Good Game Gaming. GGG. We have Patience.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Submarine LE, we have the Zest Killer himself. He eliminated Zest earlier today in this very bracket. Here we have, representing Team NV, the Purple Protoss, it is NightMare.
So I don't think I got to mention this yet, as I haven't casted ESL Asia in a while, but shout out to the GSL Super Tournament announcer for saying "good game gaming" without chuckling.
I mean. I have Artosis and Tasis. Did they comment on the team name? I imagine they have. They did, right?
I think they did it once, but then never again, which surprised me.
Hey, you gotta beat that joke to the ground. What are you doing?
Yeah, you really do.
Oh god. But yeah, good game gaming. Of course, Patience's team is the newest of teams in Korea. It's pretty cool. I say Korea. I'm pretty sure it's a Chinese team.
It's a Chinese team.
Yeah.
Their first pickup was Cyan, and then they picked up Dream and Patience a little while after that.
It was actually all 3 players at the same time, as they were all
at the
teammates.
same time, really?
Yes, they were all a part of the previous Chinese team, not Brave Star Gaming.
Dream was in Brave Star Gaming, but not Patience and Cyan.
Okay.
Or actually, Cyan might have been Brave Star Gaming.
Because I know it was basically one of the Chinese teams shut down, and that very same team was picked up by Good Game Gaming, like the same players.
Yeah.
Oh boy, but yeah, like it's really cool that they're investing in the scene, and they want to support these players as best they can.
And part of that is by having a name called GGG.
Yeah, that it was, and
the most meme-worthy name I think you can really come up with.
Yep, and I just confirmed it was Team LP. Team LP.
That's what it was. Lao Po.
Yeah. So they went down, and then the team got picked up. Oh boy. But here we are, and both players are expanding.
On Submarine, in a PvP, that's a lot of pulled boys here. NightMare, calm down.
That is a lot of pooled boys. Oh boy. Not a lot of dead workers, but there was a lot of lost mining time. Here we go. This time NightMare does not allow the Adept to shade in.
That he does not. So we're getting our macro game on Submarine.
Oh yeah, it's a macro map.
Yeah, naturally. Romanticide, that was a very quick little map, of course. Known for its rush distance. That's why the game went by that quick.
Definitely.
Jagannatha as well.
Yeah,
that's why both players were that aggressive on Jagannatha. But here on Submarine, playing to the map's advantages.
Yeah,
nice and economic.
That they are. Both of them are so diligent with their scouting. Once again, Patience, he just sneaks into the main base. Every single time it's only one Adept, so it's not the biggest of deals, but he's able to get some damage done regardless.
Oh yeah, target firing is a lot better than what I'm used to. These 2 Adepts, though, might be able to sneak in! Just throwing down the shield battery at the last second, blocking these Adepts out. But there's still probes here in the low ground.
And all in all, this is not an insignificant amount of damage. Like, 7 probes have gone down this game.
In a mirror matchup this early on, that is going to snowball. Assuming Patience is, on top of his own pro production.
Exactly. Meanwhile, both players have been on point with their scouting. They have been sending out their Hilux. They're very diligent with those, so they are aware, of one player's earlier Twilight Council, of the other player's earlier Robo. So they should be aware of, there's nothing too crazy coming out here. No early Stargates or Dark Shrine or anything like that.
Which again surprises me considering we're on Submarine.
Meanwhile, oh god. Okay. Whew.
NightMare very diligent with his own stalkers. He knows how Patience wants to play this out. Able just to prevent this Warp Prism from getting too much harass done.
Exactly, and what's important is that NightMare is now aware that there is that Warp Prism out here on the map. So now I'm sure his senses are heightened, like looking for that Warp Prism, making sure he has plenty of units all over the place for the defense.
Yeah, keeping those stalkers everywhere he needs. Just, making sure that Patience will not be able to go into a mining base and cause a lot of damage. So Patience, he's well aware of this, goes back on home, is working on his stage 2. Immortal Chargelet.
Yeah, pretty interesting that he opted to go for charge before Blink, which is what NightMare has prioritized.
I mean, is it really surprising that Patience decided not to go for Blink?
I mean, we see him blink a lot.
I think he's finally. We do, but I think he has sort of realized, maybe I should try something different.
Like,
Blink hasn't really worked out for me.
Yeah, he's like, maybe
it.
this is what's wrong with my gameplay. Maybe I just shouldn't get it. I'm too trigger happy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, NightMare is finding a lot of value here.
Yeah, taking out Sentry is actually really huge here for Patience. He is lower on the army supply. He's going to be relying a lot on not just the Sentries, but also his Immortals. He does have 3 of them. That's a lot of Stalkers, though. NightMare, a little bit too afraid to engage in that, and I do not blame him one bit. 3 Immortals and a Shield Battery. I don't care how many Stalkers you have, you're going to take a lot of losses.
Exactly. Now the Immortals are so much more exposed. They are out of the safety of that range of the Shield Battery, so at any moment, NightMare can just...
Close. Ooh, the Warpism goes down, and Patience just has so much less maneuverability and microability with his Immortals here. Has to be so much more careful.
Exactly. Again, at any moment, he can just pounce upon these Immortals and just target them down, just like that Warp Prism. In the end, NightMare, he does back off though. There is no easy way for NightMare to reinforce this army. He doesn't have a Warp Prism of his own. He doesn't have a reinforcing pylon, so what you see is what you get, at least for NightMare.
Yeah, but we are on Submarine. NightMare should not have too much difficulty just marching Stalkers across the map. Again, not as ideal as having a Warp Prism or a Fort Pylon, but you can sort of afford to get away with not having those on this map.
Yeah, you definitely can. As you said, just because of how small this map is. In the end, NightMare, he feels like prioritizing expansions are a little bit more important here, as he is the first player to take his 3rd. Patience, a little bit behind, but not by too much, as we are still getting into the swing of things here.
Yeah, Patience a little bit behind on his bases, but he is far ahead in his tech. Already he has the Archons out. And with Charge, I mean, they're just going to be pinning these Blink Stalkers to the edge of the map. Eventually, NightMare, he's going to run out of space to blink. Yeah,
and what's dangerous is that NightMare, he needs time right now. He's working on disruptors. Like, we have the Robotic Spade on the way, but Patience, he's just moving out on the map.
Indeed, he is actually splitting up his Archons, funnily enough. And it's working out for him because he has so many Immortals. There are a lot of Shield Batteries though, and the Recall did get popped. NightMare should not have too much trouble defending against this, but once that Battery Overcharge runs out, once a couple more Archons come in, it is going to be that much more tough.
Yeah, definitely. The buffer of Patience starts to run thin. All of these Stalkers, so all the charge lots do get taken out. So once these Archons fall, then we may see the aggressive blink. But at the same time, NightMare, he is being forced back, and all the shield batteries are being taken out.
Just pinned right into a corner. Zealots coming in to reinforce and act as such a good buffer here for the Archons and the Immortals. Forced to pull it, boys. That's what Archons want to be shooting at. So many probes going down. The Warp Prism's still alive. He has to be so careful, Patience does. But again, NightMare backed into a corner with his Stalkers. Look at that army supply difference. NightMare does not have much to defend anymore.
Mate, this is why when we see PvP, you expand, you die. He was focusing on his economy. It took him too long. He never even got a Disruptor out despite going for that Robotic Spade. He was trying to rely on nothing but Blink Stalkers, and there were like 5, 6 shield batteries in that natural, and we saw, mate, it wasn't enough.
GG is called. Patience without Blink this time. Moving on to the semifinals. Man, oh man. Taking out the Zest Slayer. Moving on to FaZe as I quickly double check the bracket. The winner of Solar versus Dream. Shout out to Gengar, by the way, in the chat. Appreciate the information confirmation. That's how I'll go. Starting things off with, or starting good game gaming with Dream and Cyan, and then picking up Patience.
Oh, I didn't even realize. GGG Gengar. Good game gaming Gengar. Wow, okay. Okay, there we go.
Or it could be GGGG Gengar.
True.
No, it's good game gaming Gengar. We do really appreciate that name.
We do. It is a lot of fun. And Patience is repping that team well here. Again, when it comes to PvP, he can take it to anyone, even if it is, you know, someone like a Zest killer or Zest himself, as we've seen in the past. So, really strong performance here as he does move on to face Solar.